why now are HBCUs saying, "Hey, let's do some genetic testing on Black people"? Like, who, for me, when I first heard that, it's like, okay, who's behind that and why?
Hmm.
So of course it's that mistrust. But then it's like, really, with anything with us, the funding is never there. It gets started and then it's stopped unless it's benefiting another
Hmm.
population.
Welcome to the We Got Problems podcast with co-hosts Curtis G. Martin, Rhonda L. Brown, and Khalif Johnson Sr., the one and only podcast where solutions get discussed to our community's everyday troubles. Each week, you will hear mind-blowing conversations and actionable tips and strategies that you can implement in your daily life to become more effective. We got problems and we got solutions.
All right, you guys, welcome to the show. This is We Got Problems, the podcast. I'm Curtis G. Martin here with my co-host, Rhonda L. Brown,
Hey, everybody.
Khalif Johnson Sr.,
Hey y'all, peace. How y'all doing?
Lashika Phillips.
Hey y'all.
And today, you guys, we're going to be talking about unveiling the genetic mysteries of Black people, how HBCUs are leading the charge for healthy equity, for health equity. Hey, so look, I'm gonna turn it over to Lashika. Lashika, you go ahead and lead the charge.
I want Rhonda will.
Oh yeah, Rhonda. Let's give it to Rhonda.
Okay, Rhonda, you got this one.
Because Rhonda, we know that health. We know that Khalif is our health guru. Like we know that. But we all of y'all really are like these low key health gurus. If people only knew, like y'all go in, get in. But we also know Rhonda's also one of those, and I think that she's got a lot of information about this. So I'm happy. Go for it, Rhonda.
So to start with, I have a question for y'all.
Uh-oh.
What are what do you think are some of the unique challenges that Black people face in accessing genetic testing and counseling? Have you heard of it? Have you done it?
I've heard of it. I've not done it. I think first thing comes to mind when you say challenges, I'm gonna say mistrust of the healthcare system. Was just telling y'all I just purchased The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. And so for me, mistrust is at the top of my mind.
Okay, how about you, Khalif?
That's historical, right?
Yeah.
Hmm. For me, mistrust is big, but when you start talking about genetics, you want to make sure you get an accuracy of who you're dealing with. So I guess that can go to mistrust of the people who's dealing with the information, but you want to have accurate information that comes back on you and them not giving you one place giving you one read and then another person giving you another read. And so you want to have accuracy when you do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
How about you,
I
Curtis?
would say, it's gonna be language and communication barriers because they're gonna like not really tell us what they're using it for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And it get used for something else. I would say there will be biases, right? Like um, not even giving us the full information to where we can use it as a community, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you think about things that as medicine progress, how about my man died needing a blood transfusion, right? When he created the machine, right? Like stuff
Oh
like
wow.
that. Like what type of biases or what type of things will they do to where they know it's something that could benefit our whole community and we don't get used or they don't give us that information. And then when they give us the information, do we even know what to do with it?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, like Lashika said, she had never heard of it. How many of us have actually heard of genetic testing and knew that we could get it done?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's probably one of the main barriers in our community is
The education
the
of it.
Yeah, the lack of awareness. And then
Oh,
of
and
course
access as well.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I would say,
And then,
go ahead. Sorry, Rhonda.
yeah, along with access, you have to have access near you, but you also have to be able to afford it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of those genetic tests are extremely expensive and not covered by insurance. That's another concern too.
Mhm.
And like I said, I've not ever done it. But for me, yeah, mistrust is there. It is because what are y'all doing with this? When you finish diagnosing me or telling me whatever I need to know, you gonna give me my anyway.
And
Go ahead.
then using it to discriminate against you. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now HBCUs are actually working to address these challenges. What are some things that you would want to see from them to help? Like, of course, we need to be educated about it. Um, I don't know who wants to.
I don't know. You want to make sure if the schools are doing it, you're asking the schools to do it. You want a good education platform for our youth so they can go out and and teach others about it. So you want to start like education platform where we're communicating about this, and it's something more in a topic that we will hold in regular tea talk, so we can have it amongst our communities, so we can get back and talk to our aunts and our uncles and our mothers and our fathers, and we start communicating with our elders. When we have our youth coming back from schools with the things they've learned, and this is something that we can introduce into our community. So like I think that's a big part of it, the education of it, and making sure it's accessible for the youth and the older community, their parents as well.
I think for me, the big thing is definitely to your point about education and awareness. And so for me, I just want to know why. I give me the big picture. Why? Why is this important? Why now? Why is this important? What are the long-term benefits of me doing this? I mean, now I know, 40, 50 years ago, my grandparents, great grandparents, wasn't nobody getting genetic testing, and they was living fine, living off the farm, living on the land, doing fine. Um, how is that going to enrich or impact my life today? Just knowing information or what? Just I want to have a better understanding of that. And I think that if they can, and I know that I'm not the only one, and I think to be able to have like some real simple case studies, some examples of people who have had these like great stories of getting it done or not getting it done. I think that's what's important for me, and I think most of the community. Tell me why, and then why the why. You know what I mean? That's what.
Yeah. So they.
Shit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Curtis.
That's a big one for me, building the trust in the community, right? Like, and like Lashia said, for me, like, why, right? Like, I need to know that type of stuff for me too, like, because
Yeah.
if they don't build trust with us and let us know why it's important, then you next thing you know, we got a pandemic that affect nobody but us because of this genetic testing, right? Like, so
Hmm.
it's I don't even like when they get to telling you about, hey, go see where your family is from, and people
Yep.
coming back saying they from Nigeria, saying they from here. I don't really trust that, right. Like it's the same thing. I saw a guy where he was saying that they were telling people they from wherever they thought they wanted to hear. And
Hmm.
that's horrible, man, to start saying you Nigerian, right? And then
Hmm.
you don't have a clue, but you sold on that because somebody did some genetic testing, right?
Yeah.
Or
And
they
even
come
with
back and
them, I've seen people do a DNA test on their dog or something, or on a
come back
wall
and
and
tell,
say
yeah,
that.
yeah,
They did. Yeah.
hey, you 100% Japanese. Like, wow,
Yeah. That was my wall. Right.
yeah, yeah.
Right. So some of the things that they're working on are like identifying genetic variants to like sickle cell, hypertension, diabetes, stuff that generally affects the black community.
Mhm.
Um which I think is good in a way, but then is it really some of these things, are they really genetics or is it lifestyle?
Mhm.
Oh man.
I think it's a combination. You know, a lot of the stuff is stuff that we grew up accustomed to putting into our diet. So that has a higher risk of different things that we face in our community just because we're just accustomed to living a certain way. And then there's other things that you can't do anything about. Some people are just built a certain way. So you can't change how your bone structure is or the density in your bones. Like that's just how you're born. So you some people have heavier bone structure. So some people are just going to be naturally can't gain a lot of muscle. They can't gain a lot of weight. It has absolutely nothing to do with food or anything. And they can have just as many diabetes and hypertension and high blood pressure as anybody else. But it just goes to every person is different. Nobody's is exactly the same. So when it comes to health and wellness, you can't just put everybody in one box. Our community is really unique for that very reason because it varies so many different ways. When you say people who are melanated and darker complexion with heavier pigment that look like us and some of the stuff that we're facing our communities with it. So you just can't put everybody in one box with saying this is going to be the fix all. It's just everybody varies.
Yeah, I like that trash because when you said it, I was just thinking like, man, what about the food? I think Rhonda even said, what if it's something else, right? Like I would
Mhm.
like to see them put a panel together that's all for this science of genetic testing, and then let's get our top nature people, right? The what do they call them? Um, our holistic healers,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
And let them do a 100-person study, 10-person study a piece on I'm changing your eating habits and you looking at whatever you looking at, and let's see where we get the results at.
Kurt, did you see the one that they did on those twins? They had
I would say that. Yep.
you
Go
know,
ahead.
they just did a show that they had one with the twins and one that they had on the plant-based diet and one that was on the a meat. It had meat in the diet, and they just showed the differences and the results and the numbers of the two different diets, and it goes to show that a lot of it is diet based.
Yeah, no, so that's what I would like to see. But one thing, when you're looking at the machine and generating money, they don't want to get to the truth of what's going on, right? Like
But
when
that's
you
for us, though, right?
No, I'm all for it. Like I totally believe in cutting out certain foods, right? Like we can call it genetics, right? But your family been eating ham hocks for 100 years, and all of y'all have high blood pressure, right? So
Mhm.
oh, it's genetic. High blood pressure just in our family.
You
Mhm.
know what?
But it's not even the same ham hocks as it was 100 years ago.
But see,
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna go to. That's it. What I say is the genetics. The reason that I went plant based is not because of I'm just trying to save all the animals and we hug trees and this is wrong. Nah, I used to like eating meat. I really liked eating meat. But once I started doing my research on the sourcing of the products that I was buying in the store, and that was what threw me off. Maybe if I was on an island somewhere and I didn't have nothing but the island animals and I hunted every day, I'd probably eat meat again. You know what I mean? And I just lived, and this is what we lived off of the land. I probably wouldn't have a problem going fishing every day and getting me a fish out the ocean and come back and throw it over some open fire. That would just be who I was if I was living on an island somewhere. But living in this society and in the cities that we live in now, you can't just go to the store and buy anything. You know what I mean? The products in the store just aren't the safest. So when you start talking about genetics of what they're putting in the foods, that's like a whole nother conversation.
So do you think this research will benefit the black community?
Mhm. I
Uh-oh.
mean, if
Curtis,
if
you
they
just smile.
if they make it, if they are intentional, about educating the community, then I think so. I think that because I think that's the only way that it would be effective. Um, and I don't know what that would look like, right? I really don't know what that would look like. I would say back in the day, and back in the day meaning like 50, 60 years ago, then I can imagine that they would be maybe sharing this information in church because 50, 60 years ago, you could typically find Black people, Black families in a church together at least once or twice a week, right? So that'd be a great opportunity to really get the information to the masses. Well, fast forward to today, I don't know. I don't know what is a a really great platform to reach multiple people who identify as Black, African American, or melanated to get them to grasp this information. But it has to go further than just grasping information because everything that we have said so far is about mistrust, right? So
Mhm.
it has to be a thoughtful, intentional, more than a campaign, right? More than do y'all remember back in the day there was this huge campaign, this is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. Yeah, I remember that with the
Mhm.
ad. That was so powerful that you still to this day remember. You probably can't even picture that doggone commercial. I know
Still,
I can't.
yeah, the egg, yeah. Hey, so I was sitting here thinking, right as you were talking about that, like, what does that look like? I have no idea. For me to really get involved with that, you would have to say, no, Kurt, I had this test done, and this
Mm,
is the results I got. And I go, okay, I'll go have the test done. Right?
okay,
Like
so
I'm not just
ambassadors, word of
going
mouth.
right. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, because nowadays I don't trust the preacher to give me the information.
come on,
Right?
come on,
Right?
right,
Like you said, that used to be our avenue, right? Like
right,
now, if you tie an entertainer to it, I'm automatically gone.
right.
Right? Soon as you got what's the dude name out of Florida? The little one that got
Plus,
no, not Plies. No, the little what's the boy name? Look like buckwheat.
Oh,
You said
do y'all know who he's talking about?
Yeah, y'all gotta know. He don't talk English. Y'all gotta know he don't talk English.
who? It's a
He did,
rapper?
yeah, he did the song with the snitch.
oh, he's out of you talk about Kodak Black.
Kodak Black.
Oh.
They got Kodak Black campaigning for me to go get a genetic test. You know what I'm talking about?
I seen that. Oh man, when it comes down to it, for me, with when you say you're teaching it to the youth, we got so many of our youth in college, and are you giving them all the information and let them teach it the way they see fit, or are you giving them information and this is the teachings that I want you to teach, and it's kind of like according to what their sciences are showing, not according to what the youth are going to learn about our genetics, and it kind of aligns with what with their people, or does it are the genetics that they're trying to research like something else, if you get what I'm saying.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I went off
No.
on that one. I went off on that one, but
I
basically,
basically got to be educated, right? Like
Yeah,
I got to be educated. Like you can sit me down, talk to me, and then once I understand what's going on with this testing, then I can go like, I don't. This is not a good idea for me. Or either I'm gonna say, yeah, this will go. This will be a good idea, right? This is a great idea. But yeah,
yeah.
we need to be educated.
What I don't want to see, I'm going to say it again, what I do not want to see is they put a monetary like stipend on it. You know, like you come do this genetic testing and you're gonna get it's like a credit rebate or this tax credit. If you prove, you did this, you're gonna get a tax credit of $1,500. Like I don't want to see that. That is definitely not make me want to go do anything.
Yeah, no, I'm done. As soon as you do
Right.
it, I'm done.
Mm-mm.
yeah, when you put it
Right.
when you put that kind of stigma on it, that would put a nasty taste in people's mouth. Like, you come down here and get a test, we're gonna give you $50 gift card to, what I mean, wings and things. Like, nah, I don't want that either. So
Right.
And that just shows some of the challenges that they'll be facing. And
Yeah.
even if they have enough funding,
Mhm.
enough researchers, enough geneticists,
Yeah.
like how they so I'm trying to word this right. So HBCUs, out of all these years that we've been doing genetic testing on other populations, why now are you going to charge put like why now are HBCUs saying, "Hey, let's do some genetic testing on black people"? Like, who, for me, when I first heard that, it's like, okay, who's behind that and why?
mhm,
So of course it's that mistrust. But then it's like, really, with anything with us, the funding is never there. It gets started and then it's stopped unless it's benefiting another population.
mhm.
Non-black people.
so,
That's the only time it's
so,
beneficial, when we don't benefit from it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
and
that's
so
I'd be interested to see because so here's the thing. It's interesting because we keep going back to the same thing. We keep going back to mistrust. That's what we
Mhm,
mhm.
keep going back to there, right? So I don't know. I just think that I just I lost my thoughts just that fast. Hey, when that happens, but I think that that's I just came it came back. So when you Rhonda, when you were just talking about funding and you
Mhm.
asked why now, we've been doing this all this time. Why now focus on black people, right? So this is just my theory, my hypothesis. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's not that deep, but just my quick little hypothesis, right? So my hypothesis is we have proof. I'm looking at my book right here. We have proof, Henrietta Lacks, that studies and testing and everything been happening on black people since even before her. We can always go back to Susan Bartman, right? Sarah
Mhm.
Bartman. We can go back to her. But is it a possibility that the HBCUs have received funding from non-black organizations, companies, scientists, fill in the blank, and said, "Hey, we we need to investigate y'all. So look,
mhm.
some money off to the side, and y'all really the only people that can go talk to your people about helping us investigate and test on your people. So look, we're gonna give Black University AME, we're gonna give y'all $2 million to go out and do this project, do this campaign and everything, and then give us all the DNA, give us all the information."
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know. That just I can't prove that right now. I cannot, but it's so but it feels right.
And that's the first thing that popped in my head when I saw it. I was like, wait, why? Because we all know the HBCUs were not historically black. They're
Well,
not they
They're
historically,
not even
I
named
mean
after black people. That's the crazy part
that
about it.
yeah, that's even crazier.
that's
That threw me off for a loop
that's what
the
I
other
was
day.
trying to get at.
I'm
Yeah,
So
sorry,
it's
Rhonda.
no.
like, why? Why?
that's a whole nother show.
Like,
That'll
it's a
be a
good,
good show.
I love the idea, but you have to prove to me that, one, we're not just going to be some guinea pigs. Two,
Well,
I mean, you really couldn't get our DNA through 23andMe or whoever else does that, because we ain't falling for that. Like, why are you doing it? And then if you find something, is it going to be shared with the community, or are you gonna, I don't know.
it'll be shared with the
What?
community 50 years later or 100 years later after, because that's what tends to happen. I'm only going based on pattern.
So what do you think the of the genetic testing in HBCUs? Where do you think that's going? Do you
Well,
think it'll last? Do you think it's just gonna flop? Do you like
I
It's
think
gonna
it will
flop.
last. Oh, you
Think
think
it's
it's?
gonna
Oh,
last?
yeah,
I
tell
think
me,
it's gonna
tell me.
flop.
Yeah, yeah. Tell us.
Only reason why, just think of all the stuff we're seeing. And now you have the black youth that's being more educated now. Like now
Mm-hmm.
we don't even trust Democrats no more, right? Like it's been hard to get from under that one. And now people
Mm-hmm.
starting to say, hey, look, you can't trust nothing these Democrats saying. But what about the Republicans? No, they horrible too. Right? So now, like sooner or later, we get into where we trust us.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only ones we have left to trust. Right? So that, like Trash always say, we got to do good business. Now we got to do good business, right? Um,
Mhm.
I would like to see when somebody that looks like us do something detrimental to us, then they become magical, abracadabra,
Mm.
right? Like it has to be something like that. So you like, hey, don't do them wrong because you going they gonna make you disappear. Right? Like at some point we gotta have that because if not, when do we ever build and trust? Because they'll stick Jesse Jackson in front of us. Then we hear all the shit he done said over the years. Then get a hot mic like I cut this dude balls off. Right?
Yeah.
Like that type of stuff. Stick Al Sharpton in front of our faces, right? Like these people we get to trust, and then boom, all of a sudden we hear about all the stuff they did wrong. And then probably have y'all noticed that, and it's kind of off topic but on topic. Have y'all noticed that every time somebody that was in the media dies, they come out 10 years later after they died and talk about how the FBI has a file on them that they were watching them, right? So they watch them for two reasons. One, to see if they making any movement in the black community to where we need to know about. And then two,
Mhm.
let's catch them doing something wrong so we can hold it on them to get them to do whatever we need them to do. Right. So those people can't win. Right. Where do our savior really come from? It come from within, right? Like I'm telling you, if I had no hope and I went and did a test and they helped me out, then now I'm gonna be the word of mouth for that test.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna speak out. Hey, y'all need to get this test done. This is what's gonna help you. Luckily, they caught mine in time, and I was able to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mhm.
So now we being educated by trial and error, and not by them just feeding us some information. Right.
I'm glad you said that because my knee jerk response was, "Oh, it's gonna succeed. They gonna go out. They're gonna keep going. They're gonna grow this program because this is where my mind was going. I'm totally in agreement with you 100%. But I just wanted to share what I initially was thinking, and so that was given that a lot of HBCUs are now predominantly not attended by African Americans. That a lot of HBCUs now they don't even have African American Studies department anymore. A lot of them don't, which I think is again that's a whole nother show. So that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, well, considering that um, HBCUs now are being now more heavily attended, but not just heavily attended. But if you were to look at, oh, I want to call out the school, but it doesn't even matter. If you were to go to certain schools, whether it's HBCU or not, and look to see who the professor of Africana Studies is or African American Studies, it's a non-black, non-melanated, fill in the blank is that person. So that's what I was thinking. That was what my knee-jerk reaction came in was that okay,
and it could. So, but that's still that's not us, and that's
right,
not us building trust, right? Like
right.
they pushing it and they putting it out there disguised as help.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, no, it could. I see that. I see
Wow,
that.
really interesting.
Yeah, and my first thing went straight to COVID. Like,
Mm,
when did you decide that you're gonna do the funding for the genetic testing for black people? Was it after we
Mm-hmm.
said we ain't taking a jab, or was it before?
Mm-hmm.
okay, it
Like,
was after.
Hey, either way, Rhonda, they always need more information. Hey, look, so
Mhm.
somebody dropped a post for Black Masterminds, and it's and no, for We Got Problems, and we talking about how we invented everything, right?
Mhm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and our guy jumped in and said, "Well, sadly to say, we didn't invent Bitcoin." And I just saw
Mm.
that post, and I double back and say, "Shit, we paved the way because we created the internet." And that's something
That
Wow.
that
part.
nobody talk about, right? Like, so once you created the internet, then a currency was created on top of the internet, right? Like, so my point is that things will be used against us no matter what we do. A lot of
Mhm.
people, so they use, what is it, sulfur they using for chemotherapy because
Mm-hmm.
it changes the white blood cells. It
Mm.
creates all these white blood cells. So did y'all know they stumbled on that on an accident? That was an
Mm-hmm.
accident to come up with. So they didn't create that. It was an accident. A ship got bombed, right? Ship gets bombed. They they start wondering why all these people are sick. They go to the doctor. They see that they got increased white blood cells. So
Wow.
now when you have cancer, they give you this to increase the white blood cells.
Mm-hmm.
So they learned that on accident.
Because they was practicing.
No,
Practicing.
no, they just got bombed. Yeah, right. Like,
You
so
know, yeah, practicing medicine. You
So
know, that's
so
the
so
Right.
it's just crazy how it's a different creation. Like, even it's a story out there about the guy that created Fabul not Fabuloso. What's the Febreze?
oh, uh-huh.
Mhm.
Febreze, the guy was creating something totally different than Febreze. It wasn't
Uh-huh.
Febreze he was creating. He was creating something, and the stuff he was using would get on his clothes. His wife said, "Oh, I'm so proud of you." Right? The next day, he like, "Why you keep saying you're so proud of me?" She said, "You quit smoking." He like, "Shit, I ain't quit smoking." She like, "You don't smell like cigarettes no more." And he went into the office, like, puffed him a cigarette. Right before he got home, sprayed that shit on him, went in the house. She's like, "No, you don't smell like cigarettes." Okay, this Febreze to get rid of odors.
Period.
I didn't know
Right?
that.
Right? So this how they create. They don't sit down and say, "Let me do this genetic testing so I can help black people."
Yeah,
Right? They test this to, okay, how could I anyway.
yeah, yeah. That
I
whole
think
You know
that's
what I'm talking about?
I think that's a good note to end on.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I didn't want to say it. Y'all know we got problems, right?
But we also got solutions.
We also have solutions, and we are.
From the team at CRC Empire, we want to thank you for listening. To stay connected with us, like, share, and subscribe to the We Got Problems podcast. You can find us on social media platforms at Curtis Martin 247, at Rhonda Wrights Official, and at the_trash_vegan_.